So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my ultimate Viper guide for the new map Fracture. As always, this guide will cover things like post-plant lineups, setups, and just general strategies that you can use as Viper on this map. If you find these Viper guides helpful, then please consider liking the video and subscribing. It really helps out the channel. And finally, before we get into it, you should know that all of these lineups are done on the lowest graphic settings. And of course, my playtime has been pretty limited over the last couple days. I've played about 15 or 16 hours on the new map, theory crafting and trying out different strategies, but I'm sure things will change as the meta evolves, and if things do change a lot, or if I find better lineups, then I'll be sure to make an updated guide in the future. So first up, we are going to be taking a look at post-plant lineups for when the spike is planted a site. So the first lineup is going to be for when the spike is planted in this corner behind this wall. And for this spot, you want to come into the rope room here, stand at this corner, and you want to look up until this part of the target icon above the mouse is lined up right here where these two lines meet, just like this. Do a normal left click, and the molly will land top site, covering pretty much the entire top of the site, but especially this spot here in the corner where you're most likely to be planting. So the second lineup for this same spot is going to be from the dish area over here. You're going to want to stand in this corner at these rocks next to the dish. Aim at this corner right here, just like this. Do a normal left click. And the molly bounces off the wall and lands top site. So obviously these lineups have two different situations. If you and your team are coming from dish side, you can just run up here, throw your orb off the wall, land it in the corner, and then you can go back and play your lineups. But if your team is doing a standard A split where they go through this door and through the hallway, you can come out here, clear the rope room, help clear site, and then once the spike is planted, you can just fall back into rope room. So whichever lineup spot you're using really depends on what part of the map you and your team came from. Next up for A site post plants is when the spike is planted lower behind the box here. And for this lineup, once again, you want to come out here to dish and walk into this corner right here at these rocks. It's very similar to the lineup for upper site. You just want to aim towards the middle of this pole, just like this. Just do a normal left click. So the molly lands pretty fast, bouncing off the wall and covers all of back site right here behind the wall and the box, which is pretty much the safest plant spot on this site. Finally, the last lineup for a site lower here is going to be from this corner in the rope area once again. Just like this, walk into the corner. And you want to look up until this bottom right corner of your toxin bar is in this shadow right here at the corner of where these pieces of metal meet. Do a normal left click. And the molly will land covering behind the orange box behind the wall and this back site area. Next up, moving on to B site, the first lineup spot is going to be for when the spike is planted default right here next to dice. Ideally, it would be planted in this spot because this line right here is not spammable, but this spot and this spot are. You want to come back into tree room down here, stand at this line on the wall, and you want to line up your molly icon with this gray rectangle, just like this. Do a normal left click. And the molly lands on top of dice, covering the whole area around dice. So the next lineup for the default plant spot is going to be for when you're coming from arcade side over here. And for this lineup spot, you want to stand against the wall right here, just like this. Aim at the bottom of this leaf, just like this, and move your crosshair to the left until it's in line with this big leaf. So you want to go like this. Do a normal left click. And the molly will land on top of dice, covering all of this area. So the next lineup for B site is when the spike is planted safe in this corner here. And the first one of these two lineups is going to be once again from tree room down here. You're going to want to stand against this line. You want to pull out your molly and you want to aim the target above the mouse icon with this part of the glass window to the left, just like this. And then you want to do a running shot. So about half a second after you start running, you just want to shoot just like this. The molly will bounce off the wall and land and cover this corner. I definitely recommend you practice that one because the running shot can be a little bit tricky to time correctly, but it was the most consistent lineup that I could find for this spot from tree. So finally, the last post-plant lineup spot is going to be, once again, for this safe corner, and it's going to be all the way over here at bench. So you want to jump on top of the bench and walk into this corner right here. And once again, we're using the target above the mouse icon once you pull out your molly, and we're placing it in the middle of this blue window, just like this. Just do a normal left click, and it will bounce off the wall and land in this corner. The distance from here to that plant spot is 58 meters, so you have to really listen for the tap because it's going to be quiet the further away you are, and if you're out of range at 60 meters, you won't be able to hear them tap the spike at all. And another thing with this spot is, of course, you are exposed to anyone pushing arcade or tower. So just two things to think about when doing this lineup spot. So next up in this guide, we are going to be covering attacking strategies and executes, mainly good wall spots. So first up, for a site, one of the best walls you can throw is one that will cover the peak from ropes here and a link here, as these are going to be the two common rotation spots for the defenders rotating to help protect a site from B. And the best way I found to throw this was to stand in this corner here, and you want to line up the wall so it looks like this on the minimap, covering ropes and a link, just like this. So now you can split A, and when the wall's up, you can go through the door, and you only have to worry about a little corner of ropes. And from a link, they of course cannot see you either, unless they swing through the wall. So if you or your team are exiting through halls here, you only need to worry about these immediate angles and not about any potential rotators this way. Another wall you can do is just one that cuts a site like this up towards the drop right here. So the wall will look something like this. So this wall is better if you're mainly playing through halls here, as it cuts all these angles from this way. So once again, you won't need to worry about having control of the rope area or link. And this wall will cover most of the angles that you can be peeked from the drop. So now for B site walls, the one that I really like the most is actually a lurk wall for B site. So you want to stand in this corner right next to the barrier, and you want to aim your wall so it covers the map like this. So throw the wall. Now with this wall up, you can lurk up the stairs here, not have to worry about right side, and you won't have to worry about anyone peeking you from the top of stairs to the tower, and you can jump up and lurk onto site behind the wall and start clearing tower. So like I said, this is just one lurk wall option that I really liked. If you just want a standard B execute wall, what you can do is stand in this corner and aim your wall so it cuts B site like this. So now you can't be peeked from canteen, generator, or the back of site right here. So just like this. So like I said, this is a more standard wall. You don't have to worry about any of these angles on the right side, so you can just walk up and worry about clearing site and tower, and anyone playing canteen over here or generator won't be able to help their teammates playing on site. Another lurk wall from B site that you can do, this time starting from this side of the bridge, you can come up into this corner right here and aim your wall like this, so it cuts arcade and it cuts B site. So now with this wall up, you can walk up into sewers over here without being seen from tower, or you can continue walking right next to your wall and lurk towards B site behind your wall, once again without being seen from tower. And depending on how far you get up onto site, you can potentially even lurk through canteen and go towards A, or just start clearing B site. So a general lurk strategy that I found myself using a lot when attacking was staying on this side of the bridge, throwing this lurk wall at B, and once the round starts, you just fight for stairs control, put up your wall. And what I like to do was throw my orb right here at the corner of the stairs. So now I can walk up with my orb and my wall up, and now I can jump into the corner here, walk into the corner, and do a swoop peek to fight anyone on site. And the reason that I like having the orb here as well is because if you are trying to clear site and you're jumping onto the platform here, you're just very vulnerable, and anyone playing this corner is going to see your gun around the corner before you can even see them. So by moving in and around your orb, you can give yourself a little bit more of an opportunity to catch people off guard. So finally, the last part of this guide is going to cover defensive setups and strategies. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys are the one-way spots for here at a site. And the first one-way was actually shown to me by Keo, so full credit to him. And for this one-way, what you want to do is stand in this corner right here, and you pretty much just want to aim anywhere along this tan line between the arch here and the roof. So pretty much anywhere along here, and just do a normal left click. The orb will bounce right down into the lip on the roof. And this is what this one-way looks like. So with this orb up, you can play something like back sight and hold an angle like this. Or you can play an angle like this, so if people do start pushing through the one-way, you can still see them halls. And this is what it looks like from the attacker's perspective. And the second one-way for a site here, you want to stand in this corner just like this. You want to pull out your orb, and you want to line up this part of the HUD with this corner of the door, just like this. So once the barrier goes down, you can just do a normal left click, and the orb will land at this corner and hallway. And with this one-way up, this is what it looks like. So you can play a close angle like this and use the one-way, or you could even play further back like this if you want. From the attacker's perspective, this is what they see. So obviously, once they swing wide, they can get an angle on you, but you will see them long before they will be able to see you. And finally, the last one-way spot is going to be for drop right here. To get up here, just jump on these boxes and jump onto the ledge. And for this lineup, you want to stand in the middle of this pole right here. So just like this. You want to move forward a little bit until you're about at this line on the ground. And finally, you want to aim in the middle of these two rectangles on the white line, just like this. And you want to do a jumping right click throw. So the orb will land in the middle, and this is what this one-way looks like. So not too bad. It's very strong if you want to play an angle like this. You'll be able to see the feet of anyone jumping down drop long before they can see you. And from the attacker's perspective, this is what it looks like. So obviously, if you're playing the corner of stairs right here, it's pretty much impossible for the attackers to see you. So next up for A site, we have a couple of different wall spots that I liked. The first wall is an aggressive wall that allows you to go for halls control. And to throw this wall, I like to stand right here. This way you leave A link open. And the reason that you want to leave this open is because if the attackers are pushing A site, your teammates from B are most likely going to be rotating through this part of the map and running this way to help support you on site. So you want to leave this open so your teammates can support you. But regardless, for this wall, what I like to do is aim it like this on the map so it cuts off halls and ropes here. So just like this. So with this wall, what you can do is have a teammate waiting at the barrier in A halls. Once the round starts, you put up your wall, and now your teammate can hold the swing through the wall and halls and maintain hallway control. So if you have a teammate halls and you know that they can't be through the door that leads to rope, you can just play on site like this, and all you have to worry about really is the drop unless someone lurks through B site and goes through link. So another wall spot I liked, you can throw from halls here. This one gives up more space like halls and the rope area, but it's better if you are being forced to play on site and anchor site solo. So you want it to look like this on the map so it cuts off rope and halls here, amen. So this is what this wall looks like.
Toxins going up.
So now once again, you can play an angle like this, hold the swing through the wall, or you can play back sight and hold the swing through halls. And once again, you really only have to worry about an angle like drop. So this is definitely a more passive wall spot, but it could be better if you are forced to anchor the site solo. So an example setup for a site would look something like this. So finally, the last thing we have are the B site defensive setups. And first, we are going to be starting off with the wall spot. So the wall spot that I found most useful is one that you throw from standing in this corner at the barrier. And you want to aim low here and throw your wall. That way the wall goes into sewers. So aiming it around here works pretty well. And this is what this wall covers.
Toxins going up.
So now if you have a teammate pushing out for the orb and pushing sewers at the start of the round, they can come and hold the swing through the wall. Another option for an aggressive B wall is doing something like this. So this way the wall goes between these two sets of boxes here. So throw your wall just like this. You can put up your wall as the round starts and walk downstairs. And if the attackers want to push through, then you can easily hold the swing through the wall. So for orb options, you can throw one back here towards arcade. And to throw it, you just want to aim at this corner at the dark line at the bottom of the wall. So barrier goes down, do a normal left click throw. And this orb will perfectly cover anyone pushing through bench towards arcade. So if you have a teammate playing up here in tower, they can easily hold the swing through. And the other orb option that I like that you guys saw in my last video, I used it a lot, is just throwing it at the bottom of the staircase, just like this. So in combination with the aggressive B wall, this is what it looks like. So now you can walk down, walk past your orb and hold the swing through the wall. Or you can just straight up play in your orb and do a swoop peek if you think the attackers are already past your wall. So an example setup for B site looks something like this.
Poison ore, toxins going up.
So with the smokes at these spots, the only way the attackers can get through is if they somehow manage to go through the middle of the map and go link. With this setup, you would ideally want someone holding stairs and site, and you would want another player holding the lurk through the smoke at arcade.
Toxin screen down.